Let me start with an issue that President Clinton raised, because the title of our panel is The Dayton Accords and the Beginning of 21st Century Diplomacy. But the Dayton Accords are not the beginning of the story in Bosnia. During the last 2 years of the George H.W. Bush administration and the first 2 years of President Clinton's administration, there was a great deal of uncertainty about how to proceed. Richard Holbrooke, who we've mentioned several times, wrote on the very first page of his memoir about Dayton, "Between 1991 and 1995, the international response to this catastrophe was at best uncertain and at worst appalling." Why did it take so long for the U.S. and Europe together to intervene with decisive force in Bosnia? Secretary?
Well, I think, first of all, let me say, I think from listening to President Clinton, you all know how fabulous it was to work for him. It was every day exciting, and you could see how his mind worked and how dedicated he was to what he was doing, and it was an honor and a pleasure to be able to work with you, Mr. President. I think the hard part has to do with the fact, as he said, that we were so focused on the Cold War and fighting the Soviet Union. The other part is that there had been the Gulf War. There had been a war. We had won it, apparently at the time, in a way that tired the people out. And at the same time, there were a lot of other things going on. I think one of the hard parts when you look back at history is that you forget a lot of the context. We had a humanitarian relief operation in Somalia. There already began to be the refugees coming out of Haiti, and something was happening all the time. And as the president said, people were ready for a peace dividend. They did not want to get involved, and we had spent 50 years looking at the world through the Soviet prism. And besides, and I take this very personally, I wasn't born in the United States, I was born in Czechoslovakia, and for me, Munich was a very essential part. And people used to say, why should we do something about a country that we can't pronounce in a faraway place? And all of a sudden, the same issue was going on in the Balkans that were described as a bunch of tribes that had never gotten along. And so people didn't know why they should do this. And so I think the president had talked about it's the economy, stupid, and then also there were all kinds of other issues. And I think it was hard, as he said, to motivate people, but you have to understand the context of so many other things going on at the same time.